John, last night in the second period, you guys really took that period over after about 5 minutes into it. How do you get them to start a game like that? Do you have any idea how you start a game with that kind of physicality and that kind of just aggressiveness?
Yeah, it's been an inconsistency all year long in our building, and as I said last night, we have no chance if we don't get that straightened out. It was unacceptable how we just waded through, and I thought both teams were kind of doing that. But our building, a team that's banged up in their back end, it's unacceptable how we started that game, and I don't know what happened. But we have no chance if we don't play better in our home building for 60 minutes. We have no chance.
John, how important are these practice days right now, and these days after making these acquisitions, to tweak the things you want to tweak and get the chemistry going the way you want to get them going, and just learning about these guys?
Yeah, the chemistry doesn't happen until games. Yeah. Practice is, we're not going to be, we play a number of games. There's a lot of games coming up here, back-to-backs. I think more importantly, Dave, it's not the practices, it's the video that they're going to see. I think the chemistry happens in games, and we'll figure that out. As you saw last night, I thought Cam, Duchesne, and Panarin were awful, and we split them up, and it changed our game. Now, I'm not sure if it stays that way. I'm sure we'll go back to them again at a certain time, but they were awful the first part of that game until I put Luke there. And then I thought Duchesne, Bjorkstrand, and Dzingel played well. So I never know where it's going to go, but that's not going to happen in practice. It'll happen during games.
When you talk about you can't get into the playoffs just playing a skill game, is that more on the guys that are here now? Last night's game in particular, last night's guys were here, that they weren't playing the right way. It's not the new guys that you can blame that on.
Well, I'm not blaming. It's just we just need to know who we are, especially this time of year. We score goals a number of different ways. We have skill. There's more skill in our lineup right now from the acquisitions, but we can't forget how we're supposed to play, and that is playing well away from the puck first and giving yourself as many opportunities to forecheck. It's not always, especially as the games whittle down here, it's not going to be those fancy plays and try to pass the puck into the net. There has to be some grind in your game. We did not have enough of that last night, and that's a big part of our success is playing that way.
It might seem that Philadelphia would be a good team to get that back against the way that they play.
I don't give a damn who we play next. We have to play better. We have to start the game better. We have to play with more energy as we start that game and make sure we understand who we are.
Have you talked to Manny yet about Kincaid and
No.
how you guys want to kind of handle that?
No.
First, when you talk about that starting thing, as dumb as it may sound, look, you had 2 games where everything went right for you. You win 2 games by shutout once Duchesne gets here. Then you get more players. Everybody's walking around on cloud 9, feeling really good. As much as it stinks to lose that game, could it be kind of a reality slap in the face and say, listen, it is not that easy. Here's a reminder, it is just not that easy.
Well, it's a good point, Bobby. We were talking as coaches, what if we beat Pittsburgh 4-0? Well, we think we have all the answers as far as the acquisitions, and we've got the team. I wish we did. I wish we could be saying that, and I'd be trying to tamp that down. But we've got to try to turn it around somehow. That we did not play well. I don't think. I thought the first half of that game, both teams were just. There weren't many shots. There weren't many chances. But it's our building. It's our team that had some new juice brought to it. It's our team that had a chance to go after a wounded team, and we didn't. That's what was frustrating to me. Having said all that, now maybe we need to realize exactly how we have to play, because it's certainly the way we played last night with the energy level up and down, we're not going to win. And so hopefully it'll wake them up. So it's a point that we have to bring across, because that's the way it happened last night.
After that hit by McQuaid, I believe in the first period, was there a little bit initially some concern that he may be hurt? Or he came back, he practiced today.
He was fine.
Yeah, he's fine.
He was fine.
What did you think of him last night just initially? He gave you what you wanted?
Well, he's going to be a physical guy. He's going to be a guy that plays underneath the hash marks. A little over. I'm not sure what it was. He wanted to take a chunk out of the player coming down the wing and didn't get either. But yeah, it's a long day. I mean, these guys come in. There's a lot of things that come on. I was just sitting talking with him on the board today after practice. There's a lot of things he has to decipher for a new system and how we play. But he's a high character guy, and I think that's the most important point at this time of year. We need some of the character to come out on our team. We need the leadership to start getting us to another level as far as readiness. It certainly wasn't there last night, and we can't take too many more nights where we're looking for that. That has to be there all the time.
Maybe that goes back. I'm sorry, Allison.
Of the new players, you've seen Duchesne the most, 3 games. What are you learning about him as a player?
Well, he's a skilled guy, very astute. Ask questions. Both the Ottawa guys are asking questions. We play a little bit differently. We saw it in the game last night as far as our neutral zone play. We could see that they were caught kind of in how Ottawa plays. We got to do some teaching there. But he's a guy that, and he's going to learn here. He's going to get bounced around. If I don't think it's working with some guys, he's going to be able to play with other guys. I think he's very receptive to that, and I think he's a guy that is always talking about certain situations. So, yeah, it's a great acquisition for us, and it's going to help our power play. I'm just beginning to understand him, just trying to learn about him. But that's one thing I noticed from both of them is I think they're students of the game. He's out. Duchesne's out in every early thing with Kenny. We had an optional yesterday. He's on the ice in the optional. He likes to play. He plays hockey, and that's good to have.
When you're bouncing a guy around, like you say, does it help that he's got Zingle here, who he's played with before?
Yeah, that certainly helped me last night too, and knowing that they did play before, and because our top line, they were just awful, and where they were pretty good the other night. So I have the luxury now to do certain things in situations. I'm not sure if he's used to that. I don't know. But that's the way I put Luke in there. Luke has a whole different energy level than what he's had here of late. He gets a sniff back playing with those guys. I don't think the 2 wings played that well last night. Yeah, but that's how it's going to go here until we find some consistency.
Going back to my original question, you have the conversation with McQuaid after practice. Duchesne comes out early. Maybe it's those types of moments that bring a familiarity with the system, a comfort level.
Sure.
Those types of things that
when
happen.
they can have
like
one-on-one questions, because players are, you're sitting there, you go over video, this and that. Players don't like to talk in front of one another. They don't like to ask the coach a question in front. They never do. I've never understood it, but they never do. So, and we always preface, if you have a question and you don't feel comfortable now, come to us during the day. Any one of the coaches, and that's what he was doing with me. Today, a number of different situations. I can see it's churning up there because there was a lot of questions that you kind of have to, like face-off plays, his coverages and face-off plays. There's a lot of things that have to happen, and then we'll see it on tape, and then we can go over it. But it's refreshing that they want the information, they want to do well, and we've got some good acquisitions here.
Is it harder for a defenseman to get in the lineup quickly just because of all the responsibilities?
Well, there's so much more thinking with a defenseman. So you walk that line of giving them information but not filling their heads with it where it paralyzes them because they're making split-second decisions all the time. Where forwards, it's just a different position. And so we got to be really careful. Like I had to stop Quater today that let's just watch it. Let's see how it develops in games. There's going to be some mistakes made. And then we'll go through it that way. I just don't want him overthinking.